What's up, y'all? It's just Rhonda. Welcome to the channel. You know what it is. It's Friday. Normally I'm not here on Friday, but these reunion happened, and whoo, it's so much not to talk about because nothing really happened over here. Y'all like the video, subscribe to my channel, and let's go ahead. We're gonna waste no time. I got things to do. Got to go to work tomorrow. That's the line. So yeah, we're gonna run through this reunion like they, ran through it over there the other day. Season 9 reunion. Love is blind. Love is blind. It'll take over your mind. Yeah. I mean, that's what they said. They said they was over here being taken over by emotion and love and friendships and all the things over here behind the wall at the pod. So, before we get into like the actual reunion, I want to get into the looks. There wasn't a whole lot of looks, but yeah, let's talk about them because I'm a fashion girl, and what I like to do is talk about things that are fashion. So, hmm, we're gonna start with what do the people say? No, Anna. I actually, yeah, no, Anna. Anna doesn't want to be bothered with this. Let's get into that. Is El Cid. Imagine that the first comment that I see is El Cid over here. Yeah, El Cid, there was no Anna, but I guess Anna didn't really have much left to say, did she? Um, let's see. They forgot the assignment of getting married. I mean, I guess not if you don't find somebody to marry. That's the whole thing. Like, what is the likelihood that you're really going to find someone to marry behind a pod in 10 days? Like, everybody that's supposedly fake or here for TV, all of y'all are here for TV. So stop acting like love is what you came here for. We came here for TV, child. And so, what were these looks serving? Nick and Vanessa, because as a couple, we need new hosts. Like I said before, like unfortunately we can't do it that way. We can't like replace Vanessa with Jessica Simpson because I feel like that would be a much better, duo over here. So let me think about it. I think it's time to replace Nick and Vanessa because they bringing nothing to the table. These questions, so. I had so many other questions that I didn't get answered, but these people have been pod hopping for the last 2 months, so kind of made the reunion unremarkable because we heard all this shit already. Anyway, and also, as much as I like the tea, because I talk about the tea that be on my timeline, but I don't like that I know who was going to the altar and all the stuff that got spilled. I'm not gonna name no names because I like her channel. But and she wasn't the only one. Anyway, I would prefer not knowing what's gonna happen over here. I feel like I knew everything and they weren't gonna cover it, but they cover some of it. Anyway, on to the looks. Katie, honey, it's giving I'm a genie in a bottle. You gotta love me the right way. No, 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 and no. Not the right event, I don't think, for this. Not very flattering. Now I'm gonna say this, and I'm not surprised that these two are friends, but Madison and Katie are very similar in the way they're built. Okay? And I'm just saying that because when you don't have an hourglass figure, like most of us don't have an hourglass figure, so you can't be channeling Christina Aguilera. You need to channel somebody different. um Ashley, what's her name? Ashley Miller, I think that's her name, the model. Anyway, I just feel like, as a regular person, we need to work with, what's flattering for us. And this is not flattering at all on her. These pretty gangsters always show up for each other and tell them what it is. Salute, just Rhonda and El Cid. Yes. And as long as you're making El Cid be a gangster, I'll be a gangster. But I don't want to be out here being a gangster all by myself. Anyway, back to Katie. I don't think this is the most flattering color for her necessarily. This is not the most flattering cut for her. And hey, Motown investor. And her hair is pretty, so I'll give her that. Her makeup is okay, but this dress is definitely not, it's not a bad dress. When I go live, my dog likes to involve himself. So everybody say hi to Baxter because, he's on one in the moment. I'm not going to go away. I'm just going to keep pushing through. Katie, not the most flattering dress. Hair's nice, makeup's nice, but the dress is going to be a no. Patrick. I like it, Patrick. I don't know why these men showed up without ties, but I definitely like it. I like the color. I feel like Patrick and maybe Jordan were the only two who showed up. Baxter won't shut up. I feel like, let me just go see what his problem. Nobody will shut him up. That's the thing. Like, there's other people in the house that could very well shut him up, but they won't do it. I don't want to go. Anyway, we just go ignore Baxter. Yeah, Patrick, I think he looks good. This is the thing. Patrick is not a bad looking guy. I wish Patrick realized that he wasn't not a bad looking guy. I don't know who it is he wishes he looked like. Probably some blonde haired, blue eyed man named Chad. Because those are the types of issues that Patrick has. But here on this, I just wish he had a tie. I wish there was something. I feel like if you're gonna wear a button up, then wear a tie. And if you're not, then put a different, we're going to go that route, casual, then put a white, t-shirt under it, round neck, not a V-neck, a round neck shirt. You know what I'm saying? And, you can embellish and make that a little more casual. But right now it looks like you took your tie off. And that's not just for Patrick. That's for all of them. But Patrick looks good. He has too much self-hatred. He does. And it's just, and he's not like, he's like a meathead. They've given Edmund all of this heat over here because of his behavior, but I feel like this one ain't too far off. Patrick doesn't say much. It's giving a little duh, but I mean, so does Kelsey, whatever the hell her name is. Annie, I'm going to go ahead and give Annie thumbs up. I think Annie is one of these girls who knows, how to pick a silhouette that's going to have her assetting. Get a little thigh out there, bam, nice shoe. It's a great cut. Annie, the hair been looking a hot ass mess throughout this whole experiment. But I'm going to go ahead and say Annie's hair was on. Annie was serving. So if we're going to say who was the best dressed, I would say Annie is definitely one of the top three, in my opinion. It's not all about over here trying to make somebody eat their heart out, Madison. It's about picking a dress that's going to be flattering and, make you all that hair and things. Do your thing, Annie. I'm going to go ahead and say 2 thumbs up for Annie. What the helly? Where is he going? Anton, you showed up like this. And it's no wonder why that lady left you, because you can't go nowhere with me looking like this. This is what do y'all think of Anton? I think if I came to the reunion looking like how Allie is looking, I would be very glad that Anton was somebody I left behind at the altar. It's giving I don't care. So since you don't care, neither do I. This guy came dressed as regular people. Like he going to Applebee's. Casey was the star of the show. She showed up with a bad weave. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I wish she would have just pulled her hair back. The dress is nice. She looks amazing. But see, this is the thing. When you're built like Casey, she's one of the ones who does have somewhat of an hourglass silhouette. She's a small girl, but I feel like there's not many things that Casey can put on that, won't look, unless it's too big. You know what I'm saying? Her body is actually, I don't even really, know how to say it. She's just, like I said, she's got her dimensions are dimensioning, and she looks very nice in this dress. It's a pretty color. I would say, she would be somewhere. Okay, if we're doing the tops, she would be right maybe before. I'm gonna give her a tie with Annie, and I'm gonna say that just because I don't love Casey's hair, but I feel like Casey and Annie, in terms of the look, they both, giving halfway there or all the way there. What's happening, Joe? Joe, nobody likes his mustache. I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, there's just so many colors, like his shirt and his suit and his shoes. I'm not understanding what's going on with any of this, Joe. Um, it wouldn't be bad if he had a different shirt on. It's that blue shirt that's throwing me. I like the shoes. I'm not mad at the suit. This blue shirt is little, I don't like it, and the mustache. But other than that, at least he doesn't look like Anton. Anton claimed to skateboard, apparently. Oh, Megan. Green is my favorite color. Megan looks great in this dress. I'm not a fan of her shoes. Megan, she's a natural girl anyway, but I feel like she gave up at the hair and the makeup. I feel like her hair could have gave a little more oomph, maybe even put it up, you know what I mean, in like a disheveled bun or something, and a little bit like her makeup looks more afternoon natural and not evening, so she just needs to punch it up just a little bit, but she looks good. Listen, I don't see his, it's much calmer than what we've seen him do. Um, as far as the event is concerned, he looks regular too, Edmund. He just looks regular. The only reason why I don't hate it is because my eyes are not offended by it. So that's all I have to say about Edmund's look. Well, you know what this girl came to do. This is what she came to do. This was the moment she was looking for. All the way at the end, Golden Goddess dress. She has this body, yaddy yaddy, and falls under the category. Her and Casey, big titties, what you call it too. But she took her boobs out. But this is giving. I could go on another show and wear a bikini and do all this all over again. She's not going to talk about her life, girl. Um, she's a pretty girl. We've been saying that from the very beginning. She looks great in this dress, and um, well, I love her hair. She got it right, but she has been throughout this whole thing. I guess the whole thing with her personality, though, that people don't kind of like so much, is probably the only thing standing in her way. So there's, it is what it is. Allie looks good. I didn't expect anything less. Okay, Jordan. Jordan's stepping through. My only issue with Jordan is he did not wear any socks. I hate this, but this is a me thing because clearly that is not a thing anymore with these young guys and their, tuxes and no socks. Jordan looks like a very, polished up version of himself. Um, yeah, looking good, Jordan. Definitely Jordan and Patrick topping the list for the guys. KB looks good. I feel like KB is like what's her name? Allie. Like you throw something on her. They got good figures. You throw something on her and it can be sexy and it's giving hourglass and the shoe is on, her hair is on. Yeah, she looks nice. She's the top. Her and Allie and Casey are nice, and Annie. He look all right. I feel like I expected more out of Nick. I don't like the button-up shirt with no tie, so yeah, it's a nah. Nick, you got paper. You should have done better than this. Jordan's too busy for everything except Love is Blind. Child, he back over here again, and it seems as though he went and got a haircut, and Jordan is. I feel like, and I've said it before, I feel like if you got a kid, you don't belong over here anyway. You shouldn't be bringing some stranger home to your kid talking about this is my new husband. Madison is giving not anything what she thought she gave. This is not flattering at all. Her and her friend Katie should not take fashion advice from each other. She came over here to make what's this boy Joe eat his heart out. He's not. But he will partake if you keep throwing the coochie at him. He's pretty much said that. There's nothing wrong with this girl. She her figure is a little more boxy, her and Katie, so they're gonna have to do a little more with like what do you call it? Dimensions and things. I don't like this dress. It's kind of tacky. Nick looks good. Yeah. Nick looks all right. Like I feel like Nick, I just expected more of him. He just looks okay. He showed up in a nice suit. Anyway, yeah, I feel like this girl thinks she came to make Joe eat his heart out. Eat his heart out. She thinks she's Tiana Taylor. That's what it's giving. She's not. She's more like Taylor Swift. Only I'm not gonna say it because this girl be in her feelings. This is the thing. I think most girls um have body insecurities. Some girls, like Tiana Taylor, were thrown on this earth blessed. But you cannot visualize Tiana Taylor necessarily when you're not built like that. And Tiana Taylor works very freaking hard for that body. I feel like so does Casey. Kelsey, whatever her messy ass name is, Casey. She was in there. They was like, why is she working out? She was in there being a beast in that thing. And then Anna gets Botox. I mean, what's her name? Allie gets Botox and titties and all of that. There's nothing wrong with this girl, Madison, besides her being insecure and not having a very good flattering dress to wear to the reunion. You could have. I don't know why you worried about Joe eating his heart out. It's not worth your time. I would never be working this hard for somebody who told me I'm not their person. So there's that. Anyway. Let's get into this. Whew, that was a lot. We didn't even start talking about the reunion yet. So that's probably more interesting than the reunion. Megan and Jordan, they just gonna get this straight out the way. Vanessa asked Megan, was sacrificing her lifestyle part of the reason why she broke it off with Jordan? Megan says, yes. I feel like that's an absolute great reason not to do it. She said she had fallen in love with potential before and she didn't want to do that. And this guy, not only, he wasn't even necessarily a dreamer that we saw. He wasn't somebody like Anton over here talking about he about to, open a barbershop and some real estate. And I don't know what Anton be doing, but, maybe not everything he says he's doing, but he at least has aspirations for doing other things. Jordan was pretty much like, I'm going to eat this chicken lemonade in the morning and I'm going to pick up Luca and I'm going to go to work and I have no time for nothing, outside of my regular routine. So if you're not going to meet her in the middle, then there was no reason for her to continue. She should not have to give up all her things or keep living her life alone. That's not why I came over here to find a husband. So, the mystery is revealed when you get outside the pot. I feel like Jordan and Megan over here were probably the only real couple, though. Like people who were honestly in the place to do what they're doing. Not necessarily Jordan. Jordan, if you're looking for a wife, and I the whole humble thing for me, I don't buy it so much. I feel like get an apartment with another room. If you're looking for a wife, she's not about to sit up there and sleep in the living room, you know what I'm saying, with the little boy. Like, you start planning your life around what you want this person to look like, what you want this life to look like. And then y'all move forward from there. But ain't nobody trying to use Luca's room and isn't this cute? And stop selling Luca. I feel like he can sell his own self without you. That's how that works. When you get in a relationship with somebody who already has a kid, then y'all figure it out little bits at a time and not 10 days out of a pause. So, Nick asked him about, him saying that he regretted introducing his son to Megan. And that's also on you. That's messed up because if you're going to marry somebody, like you over here participating in this experiment. Now, all of a sudden, that the lady said, no, I don't think so, because our lives don't match. You like, I'm regret introducing her to Luca. Luca don't know that lady. She met him one time. They've not spent enough time together for it to matter. He will not remember her next week. And that's not the person that should be your wife. When you have a child, like for all the people that don't have children, do you. it can turn into a thing. There's a couple people over here that are still together, still in their relationship, and having children. So life is happening for some of these people. None here, and none should have. So there's that. He tried to clean it up, but he was acting out of his feelings. And so I don't really think, that's just one of those things. Wish I never, introduced her. Yeah. We know you was in your feelings, and as rightly so, but it's okay. There's somebody out here for you, Jordan. You keep wearing them snazzy suits, and you go ahead and move out of your one-bedroom apartment. You can't get a wife like that. Megan at the end, she questioned her ability to be a mother. I don't even know why she said that. You know what I mean? You wasn't even mothering Luca long enough for that to count as anything in your life, other than you went on this TV show and you met this this guy's kid. Jordan is getting a lot of endorsements. Is he? That's what's up. So then he can get, he's the bullet. That's an excellent idea. Hopefully the bullet people can give him some recipes of some other things to put inside that drink. However, Jordan, that's a good one. That's a check. You and Luca, move in the other side. I know that apartment complex has 2-bedroom ones too. Jordan cannot support another person. We don't know, though. I don't know. I feel like, is Jordan just cheap? I realized that he has a kid, with diabetes, and that's part of life too. People have children that need asthma, diabetes. Kids can have any number of things early on that you wouldn't want them to have to deal with, but they do. That being said, I feel like he can afford at least a 2-bedroom apartment. That's a sacrifice. Why are you making that sacrifice? And if that's where you are and you're not open to, like, nope, I can't do anything except my set schedule that I already live by. Like, if you living like that, then you're always going to be where you are. You can't be inspiring. This lady is a gambling, she's a tech startup company. Like, she's set for the rest of her life. Amazing. Megan, what you doing over there? I feel like that person, those types of people, though, have a lot of jet setting energy. Let's do it. What do they call it? YOLO. Those kinds of people. Not necessarily adrenaline junkies, but adventurers. So if he's not an adventurer, she's not gonna sit at home, child. And so, yeah, I don't know why she would question her mothering, but anyway, she doesn't have to question it anymore. Megan has not a husband. She got a baby daddy, and she's got a son. And all I have to say about that is, we have been programmed as a society to think that that's the order that things are absolutely supposed to go in. Otherwise, what? This piece of paper means a lot to a lot of people, but either you're going to do life and raise your kid together or not. And so it seems like, she got pregnant early on, but, you took the leap. You did the thing. And so now we don't know if this man is meant to be her husband, but he's definitely the father of her child. That part is for sure. So, what their relationship is, I don't know how she's feeling about it. Hopefully she's feeling more better about it now than she, I don't know. She's like, look, it's, we had our ups and downs. I think I get it because, you get into this relationship with someone, it's the whirlwind, and now you're attached to them. But, that's what happened, girl, when you be down there, letting somebody blow the club up. So, congratulations to her. I think, there's no better place to be in as a mother than, a rich one that can handle your business. And it seems as though, I don't remember what her husband's name is. But it seems as though he's, I don't know, good or bad, whatever, but he seems more her speed. I'll put it that way. He seems like he can keep up with her without worrying about, who's gonna, this is his only child. So, her life is doing what it's gonna do. And, either this man is gonna be her man or he's not gonna be her man. But what he will be is her baby daddy. So congratulations to Megan on that one. Word on the street is Megan and her baby daddy are no longer together. I mean, yeah, he's still the baby daddy though. Whether they're together or not, she does not sound excited. She's like very like talking in this very monotone. Yeah, so we've been through our thing, but I forgot my kid, and yeah, that's what it is. Don't marry him, girl. If he's not the one, he's not the one. And look at how Jordan and his ex are raising Luca together. Everybody's doing it. Oh my goodness. Anyway, Jordan already knew, so there was no, surprising Jordan. That's cool. I think that's what real friendship looks like. That she was like, well, I guess somebody tried to tell him, low key, she has something to say, and she told him. So it don't matter that she's got a different life now. This is like bleep. After the reunion, now she can finally relax and touch some grass again and stop keeping secrets and hiding her kids. She could go ahead and live her life open. Yeah, I think women have their lives mapped out a lot of times on what it's supposed to be, and then life reminds you, guess what, girl? We have to redirect this story. Megan and Mike went on a few dates. We know nothing gonna come out of that. I didn't like Mike in the pods, so I don't know what she was saying. Pick slim pickings, I guess, because Patrick. Vanessa asked him how it made him feel watching back that whole situation with Casey and talking to production. And everybody keeps saying like Casey didn't like him because he's Asian. I don't know if that was it. I think there's so many other reasons, you know what I'm saying? Was she attracted to him? Maybe if he wasn't, so goofy, you know what I mean? Confidence is very attractive and he has none, So I don't know. I know she wasn't attracted to him, but I can see why she wouldn't be. And I mean, he said it was slightly hurtful. So he said, but seeing it was cool. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, it was slightly hurtful, but it was cool, like, and not cool. He won't stand on nothing. He won't stand on anything. He's just gonna be. This dude is 6'7" all day. He's 6'7". Every time you talk to him, good grief, he's cool with it. He don't like it, but that's all. We can just roll with it, and he just won't say how he really feels and stand on it. And that doesn't feel good for somebody to say, I'm not feeling you like that. I'm guessing that doesn't feel good. However, I also feel like he really wasn't feeling her either. So Casey's sitting up here still lying. I don't know why she's doing that. I don't know why she keeps doing that. Oh, they didn't even put her in the group photo. I don't know why she keeps acting like I cared about Patrick so much. You didn't. You came out just say what it is, girl. You came out the pods and you met him and it just wasn't no sparks there. We had zero sparks. And I'm not going to go all the way to Baja with zero sparks and see if I can make some. I'm not. I don't want to do it. This is where I'm tapping out. So Patrick, be glad that that's, ended when it did. You didn't have to get set. You didn't get left at the altar. You didn't get led all the way there like Edmund did. I don't know, child. I really think it's okay to say that you're not attracted to him. And, people they be mean to you anyway. So you should have just said what it was. Because it was very weird, like how, you're not attracted to him, but you want to jump up on him and wrap your legs around him and give him all these hugs. And, girl, you were sending mixed messages. I think, he made a decision based off of a boner. She, talked him all sexy and did a whole bunch of coochie talking when she thought he was about to like slide off because Anna did. And then he got a boner and he was like, well, the other girl's gone. Might as well just see, what happens. They already had something going on. They have been talking because, they did have the whole conversation about him being Asian. And bruh, if you can't even say it out your mouth, that's a problem. I don't know. I would not be, I don't feel like, what's this girl did that last time? It was stupid when she did it. And maybe like she eventually told him, but this guy hated saying every bit of it. So I don't know. I think that's weird. And if you're not open to it, if I'm Asian and you're not open to that, I want to know now. So I don't waste my time. There's other connections I could be making. So if that's an issue for you, even the girl, Anna, she kind of was in that same headspace as him. That's why she's not here. I feel like y'all hard on Casey because Casey be moving weird, but she had more heart than KB did. She let this dude go before we get all honeymoon status. I'm not going to go over here and lay up on you. It's already like I had to kiss you 15 times over here in the, reveal. And that's uncomfortable to meet somebody and then they just keep kissing on you like that. Wait a second, Patrick. And I feel like Patrick's seen Casey and she's hot and blonde and he could take her back in front of his bros and talk about how hot she is. Patrick does not deserve all the sympathy either. He know what he was doing. Now Madison, I forget what she asked him. Vanessa asked something about what Casey is saying match her actions, when you see it. And Madison chimed in, it don't match up for me. The verbiage ain't matching the actions for me. Madison doesn't like Casey because she had her hands all over Joe. So she ain't gonna see it for Casey ever. And I mean, I think it's not fun to hurt somebody's feelings. She knew that she was going to have to do that. And so, I think she thought what she was doing was making it easier when she was making it worse. Plus Casey is like petite, like Joe likes him, and that's an issue for her. She reminds me of Emily on Orange County. Emily is so focused on like every season Emily comes with, I'm in the gym, and Emily got a bad body, like, and not good, not bad, like in bad, her body she's thick and right. And all of those other Orange County ladies are like sticks. They're like little skinny little ladies, and she's so insecure about her size. And I was like, you got the baddest body though. I don't understand. I guess she just, really desires that aesthetic. Anyway, that's what Madison is giving to me because she's on this whole tour of trying to make it seem like, Joe is responsible for her body insecurities. Yeah, Patrick be full of shit. And, they have this whole thing about the ring. They spent a whole lot of time on this, honestly. I was like, this is not a love story. We know, Casey, what's her name? Casey. Casey was in everything. All the business, all the boys, everybody had Casey's name in their mouth. For her to have been left behind before Boho Baha. I don't know. Keep the ring, give back the ring. Patrick, why do you want the ring? And I heard out here on the streets that he may or may not have kicked in some more money. That's stupid. Why would you kick in some more money and you don't even know if you're going to take somebody home? So what was the point in that? You was trying to make her feel like what? Yeah, let her keep the ring. That's on you being a goof troop. Why am I doing that? I'm getting married to a stranger for the most part, and they're paying for the ring. Cool. I'll just pick one that I like. I'm sure there's options. He could have asked, like, what kind of rings do you like? If this was gonna be a thing, you know what I'm saying? Come on. Anyway, Patrick wants Casey to apologize for how she handled the breakup. I want Patrick to shut up. That's what I want. I mean, I want to know, what would you have preferred? She said. What was it that she's apologizing for? She told you she didn't. She wasn't feeling it. She dragged it out far too long. You know, she could have said, listen, I'm not attracted to you. That would have made you feel better. Then you would have been like, dang, she cold. So I don't think there is a right way to handle this. I feel like Casey has done some dirt, but not necessarily to Patrick. I don't feel sorry for broken-hearted Patrick over here mad because she left him with a boner. And when she was saying, you know, I don't want to go to Baja, Patrick, you knew that was the end. Talking about, you have to go to Baja. You knew what was happening. I don't think you're that dumb. Okay, don't worry about it. Like, we don't have to go to Baja. Like, why would we not? If we love each other, if we love each other and, you know, why wouldn't we go to Baja? KC went to Baja. I mean, KB. She was like, listen, Edmund, there will be no coochie till after the wedding. So we're going to go to Baja. We're going to enjoy this vacation. And you are not getting any type of nookie. She could have done that. But, then you would have been all, that's messed up. She took me all the way to Baja. Nope, she didn't. So I don't know what she's supposed to be apologizing to you for. And she looking at him like, you're not about to tell me how to apologize. All you got to say is, no, Patrick, she don't have to say nothing as far as I'm concerned. Like I said, I'm sure she didn't enjoy it. You know, nobody came over here to hurt somebody's feelings. And I think it takes a lot of balls to say that, like Joe did. But, we don't like Joe either. I'm so confused. Am I in the Twilight Zone? Oh, my God. Anyway. Patrick said the apology is not for him. It's for the people. It's for her because the internet is being so hard on her. And I was like, Patrick, I always see you on TikTok still whining about this girl because she wasn't feeling you. And it could have happened the other way around. He could have came out and been like, And then what? You would have told her? Joey did. They mad at him because he said it. Yeah, he was one of the people tearing her up on the internet, and she over here like milking it, talking about people we're over here telling you to unalive myself. They always say that. Turn it off then. The unalive yourself people are weird. I mean, I feel like, I don't know how, I'm probably not, that wouldn't affect me necessarily. I just turn off the comments. I don't have to hear what you have to say. And if I'm making money from engagement, say whatever you want. Cha-ching. Anyway, I don't think it was that serious, Casey. She gave him the ring back. And he said he 100% accepts her apology. I didn't hear her give him no apology. She gave him the ring back. Only for him to play basketball and give it back to her. This was what? Half the damn reunion was playing basketball with Casey and Patrick. Their situation wasn't even that interesting. That was so unnecessary. And why is Edmund, what are you standing there for? You waiting on his chance? Jesus. Casey and Joe. Woo. This reunion is all about Casey. Vanessa asked Casey, did she hook up with anyone else in the pod? And she hooked up with Joe, and she sat there for I don't know why she's having such a hard time saying it. Maybe it's because people said she had her hands all over his chest, paws and things at the engagement party. So it's giving Casey didn't give a daggone nothing about this lady, Madison, about to be his wife. Not really. This is what I think. I think Casey definitely hit on Joe, and I think it took Joe a little bit off by surprise. And I think the fact that Casey is what Joe's aesthetic, what he said he normally goes for, this was upsetting to Madison, as it probably would be to anyone. But he don't like her either. So I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I think he already knew that you weren't it. Um, I don't know why this girl Casey is having such a hard time saying that it was Joe, but Madison already knows about it. How old are these people? Are they 30? This seems like a lot. All of a sudden in Denver, y'all hanging out in the same spot. You didn't know who each other was before, but now everywhere we go, it's y'all's at everybody's pool party, and I guess there's other people that were, involved in the show that, you know, obviously they got to know in the pods. If they brought this over here, y'all were giving absolutely nothing. All of a sudden, Casey and Joe can't remember. Were a month and a half, or was it a month or a month and a half? 6-8 weeks, child. It wasn't nothing. It was more to Casey than it was to Joe, because what y'all be doing is throwing the coochie at Joe, and then when he take it, y'all be mad. Nothing about Joe says serious. He don't talk he ain't no different than Patrick. Joe do a lot of None of these men on over here, with the exception of Nick and Jordan. Yeah, I'll give it to Jordan. Nick and Jordan are the only two that carry a decent conversation. I don't know. Anton be tipsy, so his conversation marks might start out okay, but then it probably gets a little left afterwards. He can't remember things. And anyway, these two were hanging out for a month or two. Not quite. Not even 2 months. At the end of the day, it was a thing. They hung out, meaning she smashed, and then Joey was like, nope, you're not my person. Let me go try another person. Madison feels like Casey putting her hands on Joe somehow interfered with her engagement, as if Motown Division said, I'm surprised they didn't discuss why they were no weddings this season. I mean, well, look what they brought over here. Like I said, only 2 of these men can hold a whole conversation, and one at a possible. The best catch over here was daggone Nick. Y'all want to be mad at him for being fake, as if all of y'all weren't being fake. Anyway, I can't even believe I came to that conclusion. But when you line them all up together, Joe said he'd been wanting to break up with you, girl, before any of that happened. My computer acting wonky. So apparently, over at Mike had a pool party. They were all over there, and Casey went over to Madison, and she told Madison that they were Eskimo sisters. Now, I don't know what is Eskimo sisters. I did not look it up. If anybody can educate me on what an Eskimo sister might be, feel free to do so. But that's what Casey told Madison. And then she was like whining to Madison about how Joe treated her. Well, what'd you say? Everybody just wanted a vacation. I mean, I guess. and whatever else. I mean, if they getting brand deals like your boy Jordan, then it's worth coming over here for. That's why I say they all like getting on Nick's case, talking about he was here for television, as if they weren't all here for television. Allie, she wasn't here for television. KB wasn't here for television. Huh. Only ones that might not have been here for television was Megan and what's his name, Jordan. Morocco is a nice vacation. Are they supposed to be going to Morocco? I don't know. It probably is a very lovely exotic vacation. However, going over there with somebody that you know you don't want to be matrimony to, I'd rather just save it for a girls trip or something. Um, yeah, Casey was complaining to Madison about Joe. Joe is outside, and Madison, this girl did not come snatch your man. The idea that she has such disdain for Casey. Casey don't know you. Was she your friend in the pod? She was not. So fair game. Joe's up. He said she was her third choice. I don't know who was the second, but oh, see, that's very blunt. She was my third choice. So I figure might as well, see what's up, Madison. He wasn't, you're not his person. Well, okay, but Nick was the one that said no. Motown Investor said I would have married Nick and had a lavender marriage. I mean, Nick does seem the most appealing out of them, and he's the one that he decided not to do it. So poor Nick. What is Nick gonna do? That's why he just went to the mountains. Go away. I'm gonna just live in the mountains and have fun, do fun things without my eyeballs, parents watching. What else happened over here? I tell you what, that Katie is in everybody's business. Now she know all the tea about everybody. She said, Joe, she said Joe got a new girlfriend, and I can't remember her name, but Joe has a new girlfriend that's her friend. And then they were at a party, and then Joe came with the new girlfriend, and Casey was there, and she was crying because, she was upset about Joe being with this other girl. And, she said it wasn't that serious. They was like, girl, you was crashing out. So whatever was happening in them 4 weeks, Joe had her crashing out. Stay away from Joe. He had all the ladies crashing out. I don't think he's serious about any of these women, not including the one that he's currently dating. Joe is outside, and I feel like he's shown all y'all that he's outside. So, meet Joe down to the bar for a few laughs, and don't make out with him because he seems to lead into making out, and he doesn't care, really too much about anything, to be honest. Now, after a couple of drinks, Joe will tipsy make out. Seems like everybody's focus is on Joe. Madison, Casey, Katie. She didn't even go out with Joe, and she focused on him. Good grief. Like I said, they be throwing the cootie at him and then get mad at him when he say yes. Child, please. She talking about she met up with him. Madison, I met up with him for clarity. For clarity about what? You are not my person. That seems like a pretty clear. Where do you go after that? How much more do you need if somebody says you are not my person? And what clarity is it that you were looking for? I'm confused. There's no such thing. Closure does not exist, girl. Then when she went for the clarity, they somehow ended up making out. How did that happen, Madison? And then he started crying. What was that about? Because he was like, dang, I done kissed this girl. Now we all the way back to square one. And she going to be thinking it's a thing. I shouldn't have done that. That's why he was crying. Because Joe don't like to confront nothing. He just likes to make a mess and walk away. Girl, you knew better than making out with Joe. What was that supposed to be? I feel like if somebody says you're not my person, I'm not sure why I'm still investing time in it. Am I going to turn into your person tomorrow? Probably not. So, girl, take accountability for your own mistakes. Ciao. Um, I don't know. I feel like everybody's like Joe is for the streets, maybe, but if I feel like they keep throwing it at him, I don't know that he's even going after it. She needed clarity. Um, yeah, I don't know what she wants to hear, child. She came over here. I think, like I said, she came over here thought she was gonna eat, and she just ended up looking a fool again. Then she did this thing that I don't like. She turns herself into the insecure victim because now we're going to talk about how whatever Joe said about her body, and I don't care at this point. I didn't hear him say anything besides he used to date. He's used his type usually, or he's usually dating more petite women. That's what he said. So, do you feel some way about that? I mean, I guess obviously you do. Um, you could have been like, that's not what this is over here. So I'm just trying to let you know now. He said he was attracted to you, and I believe he was. Um, you're not his person. Just because he's likes having sex with you, I mean, and that's it. He said we talk, he said we argue and we fuck. That's what he said. That's how he remembers the relationship. And I see, like, from what I remember, you will start an argument over absolutely nothing. I would be confused. Joe would be confused. You would be crying and picking through your fingers and trying to figure out why he wasn't coming to give you a hug for crying. Me and Joe were exhausted. We were over there at that Tux place, and we was like, let's get the heck out of here. This is it. I cannot do this. I've got my friend standing here, and this lady is not about to drive me crazy. Now you're over here trying to get clarity. I said, you're not my person. And you like, can I sit on your lap? And Joe's like, well, I mean, at 6'7", there you go. You're on his lap, and then now you're crying because he's, over here with his new girlfriend. We don't know enough about these people to know whether they're a good guy or not. I just feel like Joe is over here like doing his thing, and if he had liked her better, and none of these guys like these girls, none of these girls like these guys really. I feel like it was pretty much on both sides. Now Kate is best friends with Madison. Kate is best friends with Madison, and she's friends with Joe's new girlfriend. Kate, stay in some mess. I don't know if I would want Kate around me. She be all up in everybody's business. Joe moved in with somebody because he has a nice nap now. I mean, without somebody without somebody screaming, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Joe? What's going on? Why are you acting like that? What do you mean? Drunk? Because I'm drunk. Stupid ass." Kate and Nick. I mean, Nick said all the right things. After seeing Kate here at this reunion, I feel like Annie was the right choice for whatever it was gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Um, Kate is a lot. And I think Kate is a bit more of a party girl. She be at all these parties and all these things. Nick don't really do all that. Joe has a nice apartment now, so he moved in with somebody. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of guys like that. I don't know that Joe is necessarily out here like there may have been some crossover, but I don't know that he's out here like with several girlfriends at the same time. I think he get a girlfriend, and if she don't get on his nerves, then he's with it. Could you imagine being in a relationship with Madison? I cannot. She got on our nerves, and Annie did too. Yeah, now that I see Kate and Nick were never gonna be a thing. She thinks he's fake. Maybe. I think he's detached, Nick. He said everything he was supposed to say. Are those his real feelings? I feel like probably. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like no matter what he says, y'all are not gonna want to hear it anyway. He came over. She said it sounded like he had chat GBT, what to say. Maybe, but how much emotion do you want from me, girl? I don't really know you like that. You were behind the pod and I chose Annie. And so, yeah, we found out after the pod that we, don't really like each other. He doesn't have any relationships with these guys. Okay. Like Joe and Jordan and Anton. Um, he separated himself from these guys. They was over there getting tipsy and silly, and he really wasn't about that life like that. So y'all want to say he's not cool because he didn't mesh with these three. Edmund and Patrick, come on. These two cannot hold a conversation necessarily with Nick. So he said he detached himself from the group because he didn't really fit in over here. And with these girls, I mean, was he copy and pasting? Maybe. But in terms of the guys, the single guys over here, Nick is the best option, I think, for a husband. I don't know. Like Motown Investor said, if he finds the right one to have a lavender marriage, we're gonna keep saying that, Nick, because that's what it's giving. You just saying. And it had a lot to do with some of the questions you were asking, and it's whatever. You come across a little timid. You know what I mean? And so even though you're not, because Nick is athletic, and so I feel like giving the challenge, he can whoop any one of their ass in any, athletic thing you got going on. Climbing mountains, Nick is your guy. There's a lot of more positive things to say about Nick, I feel like. So the kooky one was Annie, even though she held him down over here. So I appreciated that because what's her name? Allie. Was different about Allie. She was over there. Oh my God, I love you. She was doing the same thing. She just did it to Anton because she found one right away. That felt like, it was gonna be a winner. Till she found out like he was more ambition than actual, fortune. I'm telling you, Nick and Annie could have Allie could have maybe worked something out. Megan found her man, so and Allie is looking for her next opportunity outside of nursing. Um, he is dating multiple women, so I feel like men say the same stuff all the time because that's just how they do. So he probably wasn't the only one in there saying the same thing. Love bombing. He was doing that. It was funny, and I was surprised they were falling for it. I was like, look at him jumping over the couch with his little lines written down. It was giving fake, but y'all fell for it because because y'all liked it. I don't know. It seemed corny to me at the time, but here we are. Annie stood up for him though, but I think their relationship, their friendship is real. So, and I think when I look at whatever Kate got going on, she would be running her mouth to everyone, telling everybody everything. He don't need that. Um, and he said Brandon was not her guy. I don't think he was either. Brandon, now he like what's the name out here, Casey. He done went on a date with Kate. She said, but he was all over Casey. And Casey said that's not true. He was not all over her. I don't know, Casey. I don't know if I trust you because who's a weird friendship though? Megan said her best friend, her closest person over here is Casey. Interesting. Um, do they run in the same circles? I don't know, child. Did I mess something up? I'm throwing papers out the way. Okay, yeah. I'm not Anton. Um, Kate went out with Brandon. Brandon went to a group party. They was over one of these meetups and he had his hands all over Casey. And yeah, so that didn't work out. So get Kate out of here then. Because between her and Casey, all up in everybody's business, Allie and Anton, Nick asked Anton what did he think when he heard the conversation that Allie had with her girlfriends about him just being a truck driver. And he said, no, not that. When he asked her about when he heard that girl in the bathroom saying, should he be at the strip clubs? And he said he only seen that girl twice before that night. And so Allie never even brought it up again. She didn't say nothing that night. She could have went to the table and said, what's this I hear about you being in strip clubs? But she did not do that. She said nothing. And then she doesn't remember, Allie looked up, down, all up in the cloud, down under the ground. She looked every which way but loose to find an excuse as to why her and Anton didn't work out. Because Allie doesn't want to admit that her friends are right, that this man is just a truck driver. And apparently she's not attracted to him because as soon as she met him and see him goofy walking in them sandals, she was unattracted. But she did it anyway. Why? I don't know. She kept asking the man if he could afford Botox. He said, yeah. So she said, let's give it a try. Seems like all the women knew each other before the show and they all knew Joe. Well, Joe and Kate get around in the same group of friends, don't they? Anyway, he said he didn't know that girl, so she could have squashed it, right then about the strip club. But then she was like, I don't know. She tried to bring religion. Girl, you are not religious, so let's don't do that. She said, she didn't want to be taken care of necessarily. She was just gonna need some help while she was in nursing school. But then they discussed her like once she wanted to stay at home and raise her kids, and that's another thing. I don't see her stretching that body out just yet. I don't think that she has. It seems though she has invested in her body enough to not be trying to have any babies just yet. Megan, on the other hand, was preparing. She took them out. She was getting her body ready for motherhood. So I don't think Allie is there yet. I think if you were so worried about the strip club, it's weird that you wouldn't bring it up again. She said that his schedule, them late night at his job, it was like not giving them an opportunity to have deeper conversation. Then she said, he was different outside the pods. His personality, like she's not a big personality. She wanted somebody with a big personality. Oh my goodness. She wanted a lot of things, didn't she? So, yeah, and she didn't like his feet. She said that him being a truck driver factor into her decisions because her friends thought it would be a problem. Her friends did think it was going to be a problem. They were laughing. What if he only stays a truck driver? Ha 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 ha. It was a big joke for them. She said no, and I said that's a lie. I feel like Allie wants a certain type of lifestyle, and so Joe wasn't gonna be able to do that. And Joe is, not Joe, Anton. He's talking about a lot of things, but is he actually doing those things? Because if his attitude is to come home from work and have a beer and go to sleep, when is he having time to do all these other things? I feel like most people that work third shift, they don't stop. Like if they got business to handle, they come home, they handle their business. They do not have a beer and watch a movie. So I don't know, like, what is he doing to work towards a barbershop? I don't know, like the things that he said. And that seems a different investment for somebody who's not a barber. I'm sorry. What is it that you want in a barbershop, Anton? I don't get it. So she made the right choice. He's standing up here looking a fool. She said it's part of his culture to be a provider. And I don't think he has a problem with that. So, Anton got a new girl anyway, who's probably more his speed. And so, can he provide for her? Yeah, she probably don't, have the same requirements. And so then it's a better match. And it doesn't look like Allie has a sponsor yet because when they ask her about her having, is she dating? She says I prefer to not discuss it. I would like to keep my private life private. Okay, girl. Who? KB and Edmund. Um, Child, KB got a note in her boob with examples of how Edmund was acting different off camera. It just didn't start out right for KB. Um, I don't think, I don't know how she would have handled this situation because you decided to bring this man all the way to the altar. You didn't have to do that. Like they keep saying contractual obligations, but I seen him doing an interview with, I don't know who it was, but somebody in the skater community because they definitely kept the conversation rolling about that. He asked a couple of questions about the show, and Edmund could never articulate anything, like anything he was talking about. His conversation is all over the place. I feel like things run through his mind and then he has to start talking about it like immediately. So whatever he, was talking about gets kind of dropped off because he, into another conversation. And KB is always talking. In the past, she was always talking. And all he had to do was like, yeah, he could say one thing and she would run with it. So she don't listen because she's always talking, KB. And she talked herself into this situation. And KB, talking about we had a strong bond in the pods. He became my best friend. And I was like, lie. I don't how. Girl, how did he become your best friend? Y'all haven't experienced nothing together besides this. And it's so intense. It's intense to what? Talk to somebody from behind a wall and then what? Say you want to marry them based on 0 time together. Anton has a very nice place with his land on Instagram. Anton is not stupid. He wasn't about to just give this girl her money if she didn't appreciate him, and you see he got a girlfriend and she's attractive. She's just not, over the top, like made for TV girl. Allie is a Barbie girl. Allie and Casey. Megan, not so much, but she got her own money. So, she doesn't need to be out here. And I feel like she has her own money. And she also has a man who, the baby father, seems like he can handle, like he's on a level playing field. She's not dealing with somebody who's going to be crying about he can't get a day off. Yeah, I was like, girl, stop it with he's the best friend. How he become your best friend? And I feel like they all say that, talk about how intense the experiment is just to justify the idea of getting engaged to somebody that you talk to for 10 days behind a pod. They got another show called Love After Lockup that these people just be talking just on the phone, creating a bond. It's kind of like the same thing. Child. They get out of jail, come move in your house. KB said she was behind the wall. She couldn't see Edmund over there acting a fool. Yep, she couldn't. That's not fair. The things that, we were seeing, she was not seeing. So, but girl, at some point you had to, even how he responds to things is so like childlike. Like I said, he didn't even get his deep voice in yet. KB, she said that Edmund cries to manipulate. Yeah, we seen it. It's like kids do. If you just can't get your way, you cry or, But I feel like after she got off, she was trying to explain like all the things he did, like to make her into this angry Black woman. And I think, KB, you should have just got off the ride. Once you got out and the man was like embarrassing you outside, down on his knees, he said he don't remember. You did it, Edmund, because that's how you do. You came in the house, you crawled in the cabinet, and this girl was like, when they were over in Baja, he's like crying because you can't be so nice, because that's why I can't have sex, because I'm just so fucking nice. No. And after that display, like I'm both gonna be turned on after that. Like as a grown ass woman, we knew that was a wrap. She told the man from the get, "You will not be getting any of this until after the wedding." That way, they all over there smashing. Really? I don't. She wasn't about to. Come on. She says she was mad all the time. I'm just not understanding. Maybe because she won't shut up, but I'm not understanding why she's not seeing. And I guess at some point she's in it. And I feel like KB was over here feeling like um, this man was going to ruin her opportunity. Um, Edmund is, what did she say? She said she was crying and she wasn't feeling like herself. So KB is having this moment, probably frustrated with this situation. And a lot of stuff happened with her off camera. I believe that because, they're going to present the story that they want to present to us. But I can imagine off camera dealing with Edmund's ass all day, 24/7. And she said, he walked away and was like, I don't get it. He doesn't get it. He's not, I don't think mentally, emotionally mature enough to think like in the way adults think. I remember my son was like 10 years old. And yeah, he was around 10. And we were, and my sister, we were up in Michigan. We were in my sister's basement, and a Lenny Kravitz song came on. And I don't remember what song it was, but whatever it was, Lenny said his heart was broken. He cried all night. And I remember my son was like, did he say he cried all night? And I said, yeah. He was like, over a girl because he broke up with his girlfriend. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, uh. And I was like, well, I mean, what is it that you would consider something that's not something you would cry over? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, what would you cry about then? What would make you cry? And he was like, pain. And I'm like, well, I mean, I guess that's a different kind of pain that you haven't experienced yet. But that's to me, I think, how Edmund's outlook on things are. He doesn't feel emotions clearly the way adults do. And so, how would you expect him to be there for you? You know better than that, I feel like. He doesn't understand. I don't get it. I don't know what's wrong with you. And then you come in and you're pointing out things and you're talking to him and you're trying to correct him and you're trying to turn him into, I don't know what you were trying to do, but whatever it was for him, it felt like you're only pointing out the bad things. Yes, nigga, because you're inside the cabinet. That's, come on, pissing me off. So, yeah, I feel like, unfortunately for KB, she was set up, and so was Edmund. And, you know, there was never an opportunity. I guess, I don't know. We don't know what the other guys were like. At the end of the day, she chose him, and I felt like his behavior inside the pod was much like this. Doesn't matter if we heard, seen his mannerisms or not. He wasn't saying much. She was doing all the talking. So, how did you become best friends? What was so deep? You fell in love with his story. That was tragic. And what you should have been thinking, instead of falling in love with his story, you should have been thinking, this guy's been through a lot and he's probably got a lot of baggage. He's not that old. So has he been able to even do the work it takes to, heal from any of that stuff that he went through as a child? Nah, you was over here finding him vulnerable. Girl, stop. He didn't make you look angry because he's behaving like a child and you were frustrated. So, and I would be irritated too. Like, this is an opportunity for them outside of this particular show. And, people, fall in love with the individual. Mama, the song is Lenny's talking about. Is it Mama? I it was so long ago, I don't remember what the song was, but I know my son felt like pain was not something that you feel from breaking up with your girlfriend, child. That's silly. That's a 10-year-old's mindset. And I feel like Edmund's mindset is not much more mature than that one. Um, yeah, like I said, they're open to a lot of opportunities. So she was damned if she did and damned if she didn't. Edmund got a lot of exposure, so he'll be doing skaterboard things and rollerblade or whatever it is he's doing over there. Um, I think it's wild how Vanessa is sitting up here interviewing KB, acting as if there's anything normal about how this man behaves. It was irritating me because it's like you making her follow through all the way to the end, I guess. KB is, she talking to Edmund, she explaining to him, and she reminding him, and he's like, I don't remember. I don't remember that. And KB, I think you're a great girl, greatest girl probably I'll ever get in my whole life. Like he is all the way on. So it does not compute, KB. Everything, all the stuff you're trying to make him understand, he pushing it out. It's stressing him out, and when he gets stressed out, he just don't remember, and he don't want to talk about it. She talking about inside the pods, outside the pods. It don't matter. Edmund was a little, different. And like I said, maybe if she shut him off for 5 minutes, she would have noticed that. Um, she would have noticed that something was a little off. So yeah, that's pretty much how that went. I guess they should have called this season. I don't know. Between Casey and the season should have been the exploitation of Edmund, and you know the reunion. Why Queen Casey over here that has been up to no good with all of the connections. Anyway, y'all, that's it for this season. Nobody said yes. I think we're all grateful for that. What's today? Today is Friday. Tomorrow we'll be back with Bell Collective. Me and T will be here tomorrow 7 to see what these bells are doing. What time is it? Oh, I'm gonna have to catch the replay of the bells. They done already started. Anyway, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you're out trick-or-treating or Halloween things, be safe out there, enjoy yourself, and tomorrow we're gonna resume the revolution. Bye, y'all.